Got a doctor's appointment for man. Weak man.
Is he?
Yikes. Now, I think I already know the issue. Please, what's going on?
Well, I just been not feeling like the man I should be. My wife has to unscrew the pickle jar for me. I can't crack an egg. I can't even do a push-up. Not even with my knees on the ground. Business started deteriorating about 3 days ago. I used to have chest hair. It's not around anymore. I used to be able to do one pull-up. Can't do any now. Actually, can't even hold on to the bar. When I sweat, it smells like roses. I don't know what's going on, boss.
I don't believe that. I've seen this before, and I know exactly what to do. Don't worry. Now, you've got a particularly strong case of weak man syndrome, so I'm gonna have to prescribe you 3. I would never do this typically. You only need 1. Body-hardy man. Not a tall grass. And particularly potent. Treasured by trade. Now, these VERITAS entertainment books are all you need. Tell me how you feel. Careful with these.
Damn, Doc. I feel better already.
Read VERITAS Entertainment and become the man you were meant to be.
Read Veritas today.
VERITAS Entertainment would like to remind viewers that this program is pure satire. Our books are not FDA approved, AMA endorsed, or recognized by your mom as a legitimate medical treatment. However, it has been said VERITAS readers may experience the following totally unverified and possibly imaginary side effects. 30% increase in chest hair density. Exact percentage may vary. Sudden craving to chop wood shirtless. 2 to 3 more dates per week. Plus 200 pounds to your bench press. The uncontrollable urge to unbutton the first several buttons of your shirt. Instinctively knowing how to grill anything, including salad. A voice that drops half an octave. The ability to parallel park in one smooth motion while maintaining eye contact with onlookers. A statistically significant improvement in beard thickness, even in readers who haven't hit puberty or are women. Sudden knowledge of Magnum PI and Tom Selleck. Side effects are permanent, hilarious, and not covered by insurance. Read responsibly.
For me, the men's adventure fiction thing is epitomized in what people think of when they think of the really stereotypical Hemingway, That's my thought. Welcome back to the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. Another day, another chance to talk about some really fun stuff. We got a super exciting episode planned for today. But first, brother, how are you doing today? Good. It's bright and early. I was definitely enjoying the sleep up till the last second today. Yeah. So feeling good to have gotten a little bit of extra sleep. Nice, man. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about men's adventure fiction. I've got filming coming up for my horror short. I know you just did some filming as well, so I'm eager to hear about that. But overall, yeah, can't complain. In the groove, liking it, feeling better.
Yeah, we were supposed to do a recording yesterday, but the day before is when I filmed, and you texted me at like 10:30. You're like, "Are we recording tomorrow?" And I was like, "Let's not do that." Yeah, it's a good time to sleep a little bit. But yeah, it'll be. The time of this going live, it'll be over a week since we filmed, and I actually probably will finish. So my short, right now it's called the East Germany Assignment. That's just the working title. But basically, Nate Colt's great-great-grandfather, and maybe great-great-great-grandfather, Salvatore.
The amount of greats has always been a bit confusing.
We're still confused, but the guy in Fighting Art of Man, he is a mafia guy who ends up, during World War II, gets caught up in some OSS stuff, working for special operations stuff, and so he gets called back 2 years after the end of the war, and they're like, "Yeah, there's something like super sketchy going on in East Germany," and it's the new. I still haven't done my research enough to know. I think the CIA is enacted like right after World War II, but it's like a very baby, like very young CIA, like they're just getting started, and they're like, "We need you back, Sal," and he's like, "I don't want to do that. What the hell's wrong with you guys?" They're like, "Yeah, people just keep going missing in East Germany. We think that it's something super sketchy, and we don't want the Soviets to get to it first. So we're sending you and a squad in to go figure it out." And of course, he goes in, has to fight some commies, and then he ends up face to face with something crazier than his wildest imaginings. So pretty cool. It has very much like action, thriller, horror vibes, more like Predator than anything else. This actually all came because of Luke telling me, I sent him, you guys should check it out. We've talked about it before on the episode. The TV show Primal by Jen D. Tartakovsky is super cool. And probably like 95% of the entire show is about, I think it's Spear and Fang are their names. And they're like prehistoric. It's a man and a dinosaur whose family both get killed by the same T-Rex kind of guy. And so they end up teaming up, and it's basically like a boy and his dog, but like on steroids, because he is absolutely ginormous, muscular, like beast of a man, and then the dog is an actual like massive dinosaur. So they go on crazy adventures. But I think it's like season 2, episode 8 or something like that, or episode 5 or something. It doesn't matter too much, but it's called The Primal Theory, and you can find it online for free. And it is one of the coolest episodes of TV ever. But basically, there's these like 4 or 5. I think we talked about it on an episode not long ago. 4 or 5 like British gentlemen in the late 1800s, and the one guy's like, "No, we've surpassed the need to have any sort of primitive man in us. We're all civilized." And then there's a dude who escaped from the prison, and he gets into this house, and they have to like fight to survive, and it's one of the coolest things ever. And it has very much like jump scares, because the guy just appears here, he appears there. So that was, Luke was like, "You could do something like that for your horror," and I was like, I've got an idea. I had nothing before, but now I got an idea. So it's very much that kind of adventure. What about you? How are you feeling about your horror film?
Good. It keeps evolving because Casey and I are going to do something separate now instead of like we had that original idea pinned together. So then I like got, to the drawing board, and I was like, all right, what do I want to do? And then I got an idea, and then I was like, well, what if I do this angle? And I keep developing it differently, and I'm like, all right, which one's going to work the best? And I think I'm happy with where I've landed with it, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. I think it'll be, I know some people hate it, but I've always really been fascinated and loved really good found footage movies. Like last year, Hell House LLC was like the best horror movie I watched, because I was like, this is fantastic. It's like a found footage movie about guys who like are buying a haunted house to like build it and make an attraction, like a haunted attraction. It's really good. But so I want to play around with the found footage idea, and it also springboards into sort of a calling card or a motivational piece for those out there who are like, I don't have a camera, I don't have a crew, because it's just going to be like me and one person doing makeup, but it's going to be me, and I'm going to do it with a phone. And I'm excited to see how it turns out, but also to see if it inspires anybody else to be like, next time, oh, I guess I could do something with just a phone and myself. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it on many angles.
Yeah, that's really, I feel like horror lends itself to that. Like you said, found footage can be done really, really well when it's done well. But also, like we talked about before, it can just be like some of the most horrific things ever come from just being alone by yourself. Like, that's like the whole point of The Shining, I feel like, is like getting stuck out there with just him and his family. It's like, dude, I'm gonna go literally insane. Like there's some outside forces, but that's kind of the idea. It's like, dude, when you're stuck all by yourself, things can start going really, really nuts. So, and horror also lends itself to like slow burn kind of build up, It's like day 375 of looking at this wall. It started moving, like you could just go for it, you know what I mean? So I'm excited.
Yeah, the one location things are some of my favorite. And I was actually thinking episode ideas. I was like, I wonder if Nathaniel and I should ever do like a single location episode, because you got like phone booth, you got the wall, Lock or Loki with Tom Hardy, Wheelman with Frank Grillo, which I rewatched Wheelman, and it's super sick, dude. Solid movie. I love the concept behind it. Frank Grillo carries it because he's such a cool persona. Like, he's just a great actor.
Dude, and true, that's like, they really kind of gave it a little twist there with the one location idea, like it's a car, it can go anywhere. Like, right. So smart. Yeah, that is a great movie. I remember seeing that when it first came out. I need to revisit it because it is a classic. But yeah.
I was only same situation. I think I watched it when it first came out, and I was like, that was solid, and I never watched it since, but I wanted to give it a rewatch, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty sick. I mean, it's obviously not like, oh man, this is like a top 10 for me, I love this, but it's really good. The acting's phenomenal. It's the best part, I feel like, because he doesn't get to kick as much a noose as I would like. I would like to see him kick some more a noose, but because I'm not a car driving guy. I know a lot of people are car driving guys. I'm not. Like a car chase when he's shifting gears does nothing for me. But if you are a car chase guy, you get a little bit of that too.
Yeah, dude.
So
I mean,
it's pretty cool.
Essentially, the whole movie.
Right, the whole movie is that you get a few gun situations. The chase with the motorcycle guy was sick. For the car guys, I'll agree with you on that one. Was freaking sweet.
Yeah,
but
I feel like a cool car chase can work pretty well. But I remember when I first saw Bullet, my dad had really hyped it up. He was like, "Yeah, it's one of the greatest action movies of all time," and like everybody says it's the greatest car chase ever. And I remember watching, I was like, I don't know. Like, I know this is sacrilegious to a lot of people because I still love it, but I was very young, so I need to revisit it. But I remember watching it and being like, this is not what I was expecting at all. Like, the outfits are sick, the car is sick, the chase is kind of cool, but I was expecting it to be a little more like high octane, but I got to revisit it. So.
Yeah, Bullet's definitely not like as much an action movie as I think a lot of us were set up to think.
Yeah, it's
at least in our new brains with how action movies are now, it's just not like that. But
super vibey though, like a great vibe piece.
Dude, Steve McQueen's the man. I don't know anything that guy's in, and Robert Redford. There's certain actors, Paul Newman, that you could. I don't care what the script is. I don't care if it sucks, dude. I'll watch these guys, and I'm not saying Bullet sucks, but I would watch a movie, and I have watched movies with these guys that are just like not that good. Yeah, there was one. I forget the title. It was something really weird. It was like Big Hoss and Little Fosse or something like that. And it was Robert Redford.
Okay, I was going to say, who is it?
Robert Redford and some other guy, and they were like BMX or like motorcycle racers.
No
but
way.
They don't look like our motorcycles. And it was kind of cool, but it was mostly not good at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just watching this for Robert Redford because he's so sick in this movie. But it's, yeah, those certain actors, I don't care what they're in, dude. I'll watch it.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of Redford, how's writing going for you?
Good. A little slower than I'd like. With my actual work, there's been some stuff, so I've just been a little more busy on that end. But I've been really enjoying writing Redford again. And kind of, you asked me a question a couple weeks ago of like, where are you going to go after what you have planned? And I was like, that's interesting. And I've actually I don't know. I don't even know if, I guess like I can talk about this. It's not really going to matter. But I was really wondering, like, should I have my next book, which will be not the one you guys are going to read. There's one more already planned. And then the next one, should it be...
So like book 4.
Yeah, basically book 4. Should I have book 4 be... Because you can do any time of his life. Should I have it be the death of Noah Redford, dude? Like that when he dies, show his death date? Or... show some of the stuff when he's a parent, because obviously he had to have kids at some point. Like, I've been thinking about, I want to do a much older Noah Redford for the 4th book, but because I'm seeing him and being with him so young with this new one, I'm like, well, what's he like when he's super old? What's the actual trajectory of this? But I've been enjoying it, and what I enjoy about writing it is exactly what I enjoy about the genre and this podcast and everything, where it's just like this world of pulp, adventure, masculinity, danger, like I just love it, dude. It's just so fun, and makes me think so much, and it makes me happy. I've been enjoying it. How about you? How's getting Giacomo Ferrantino ready to roll?
You've sent me, to circle back to Noah, you sent me like a handful of snippets from it, dude, and it is looking like it's going to be a masterpiece. I mean, I already had high expectations for sure, but super cool stuff you've been sending me, so very excited to read it and to know kind of like the basic outline of it. Thrilled for this one. It's
I appreciate
cool it. You're like anything that was left off of the men's adventure fiction train from Fire in the Tall Grass, which wasn't very much, is covered now in this new one.
Right.
So, and it's super cool to think about where to go after all of that. I love that idea. But yeah, Jacques has been going really well. It's been a lot of fun writing it, working through it, figuring out kind of like historic details, weaving in some like, because this is what it is, right? It's fiction, I've done a decent amount of research on the French Foreign Legion, and I mean, one of the coolest parts about it is that it's shrouded in mystery and nobody knows what the hell it's all about. So as soon as you start learning more about it, you're like, oh, maybe this isn't like as romantic as I thought it was. You know, like they really are just a military force. There's no way around it. So I've kind of like taken a tighter shift into Jacques as part of a like specialized branch of the Legion, which makes sense for the future because Nate Colt ends up working with Nate's uncle is the head of the specialized like commando unit of the French Foreign Legion.
Sick.
But like even tighter than, because I think there's like a broader actual one similar to like the U.S. military has like many different special forces branches, and there's like hundreds and thousands of people in that. But this one's like, I've titrated it down even further to like, this is like 15 guys, you know, that kind of thing, you know, which is definitely not true or historically accurate, but it's to tell a good story, and you got to build the world around it. So it's been pretty cool to do, and it's also got, I mean, stuff that happens in this book has stuff that like has relevance and importance to my horror film that's coming out in October, you know, so it's like these things are all going hand in hand, and then both of those things have super important stuff to do with the trajectory of the web series, the trajectory of any of the Nate Colt adventures. So it's cool to have kind of like very similar to an 1883, 1923 Yellowstone guy going on, you know, where it's like, dude, all of these things are important to play off of each other. Obviously, you can read any single one and watch any single one, and you'll be totally fine, but there will be references, so it'll just be a richer, deeper experience, kind of taking a little page out of Ryan Pote's book with Blood and Treasure, and how he has like stuff like a screenplay that's the background to the actual stuff that happened for Ethan Kane's character to be the way that he is. You know, it's like you gotta build richness into your worlds if you can, because it's so much fun to have that, and it's fun for you too. I don't think there's ever going to be something I write that isn't going to be somehow in the Nate Colt universe. Like I just like too much to be like, oh yeah, even if nobody ever knows it. Like if I end up writing my Star Wars knockoff in like 30 years, and people are like, oh, that's so cool, he did a sci-fi thing. Like, you guys may never know, but there is definitely going to be, that guy's going to be related to Nate Colt, or he's going to be using something Nate Colt found that was like maybe archaeological find that Nate finds is what allows them to start traveling to space. You know, like you never know. So just know that. Always be on the lookout. There's going to be time. So pretty fun stuff.
I think it's one of the best parts about modern writing is that, like, the MCU, I think, really popularized the idea, and then of course Taylor Sheridan's taken it for like other types of genre fiction, but the shared universe idea and like the broad scope it makes it for you as a writer much more textured, much more layered and fun to play with, and you're like, oh, this is exciting. And same for readers as they see it and get to make the connections, and there's almost like Easter eggs at certain points, like you said. If you don't mention fully what it is, you can kind of just have fun playing around with it. Even like, I remember I did a Thomas Redford short story and made it link to Cutlass King, because like, why not? I can do what I want. You know, like just two of my most random characters. But
That's too sick.
I definitely love that about modern writing. Modern writing's one of my favorite parts about it is the layered universes and the connecting universes.
Well, and that's what's cool too, is having already set the precedent with our writing together is like, we know Sal, Nate's great or great grandfather, doesn't matter too much,
right,
is Noah Redford's friend, like, or enemy, frenemy, you know, like
frenemy, yeah.
they've got history. So it's like we now have the ability to, one of Nate Colt's greatest adversaries is, he goes by two names, Konstantin Ivanovich and Ivan Kosev, and it's possible for you, dude. You can literally just be like, oh yeah, I like that guy. That's a sick bad guy. I'm just going to take Thomas Redford and throw him on a mission against that guy. You know, like, there's no rules. We can literally do whatever the heck we want. So it's super, super exciting. But actually, talking about, I wanted to circle back real quick to what you said. Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, and Robert Redford were the big three.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today, and this kind of has to do with one of the questions that I had asked, or for what's coming up for the rest of the episode. I've got an idea that kind of pertains to this, but it's a little sad that there aren't really any like leading men today, or very few leading men today, that have that same pool that those dudes do. You know, like even I've watched almost everything Henry Cavill's in because I really like him, but he's in so many like poor quality things that he doesn't
Right.
have the same draw, you know. And even like Tom Selleck, you know, like there hasn't really been, the only guy I can really think of today would be like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt. Both of those guys, I feel like you can be like, all right, I'm going to go watch this for this. And Tom Cruise for the longest time was hated by almost everybody. You
Right.
know, like it's only been in recent years that people are like, oh yeah, that guy's a good actor. Like he actually makes entertaining stuff. So it's sad that there hasn't been like, and maybe it has to do in part with all three of those guys. You can like menswear style icons, right? Like those are the guys that I think I just sent you an Instagram
About
video
Paul Newman?
yesterday. Yeah, about Paul Newman. One of my favorite style inspos for fall, which is coming up, is what is it? 3 Days of the Condor. Robert Redford's
Yeah, dude, Robert
outfits
Redford.
in that movie. Fantastic, you know. So it's like it just seems like those guys had a higher layer of like, I understand the public eye is on me, and I'm not gonna cave to it. I'm actually just gonna be even more badass because of it, and like
Right.
just continue to be the coolest guy I can be. So super interesting concept that maybe deserves an episode of the like the decline of
Right.
the movie star. And
Because it's like those guys were classically masculine, which appeals to us. The problem is
Right.
like you look at Austin Butler, who's going to be, and like Jacob Lordy, like these guys are set up as like the next, you know, movie stars. Timothy Chalamet, and you look up their style, it's like it's modern style. It's like it's fashion, that is.
Although,
Except Austin Butler, except
yeah,
for
I was
him.
gonna say
He
Austin
doesn't
Butler's
count.
actually you were on him earlier than I was, but that dude actually is pretty sick.
Yeah, we'll circle back to Austin Butler in a second because he is sick. But the other guys, like most of the movie stars you look up, even Brad Pitt, I'm not exactly sure I like his fashion. He's
Yeah.
got some strange choices. But
Like remember he did the one like photo shoot where he had like
Yeah, I
the
don't like
crazy mask and he was wearing dresses and stuff. It was like, well, what the heck, dude? And then his latest GQ photo shoot was sick. But I feel
They're
like
very sick.
I feel like that's what's different than Austin Butler and all of the old guys actually like have their own style. Everybody else, I feel like,
Right.
is like Chris Evans is a primo example. The only time that dude looks good is when someone hands him the clothes that he has to wear. He's never once picked out an outfit and was like, "Yeah, this looks good," and it looks
hilarious.
good. So I think that you're spot on, dude. Like none of these guys seem to care. It's just like they pay people to care. So a very interesting thought.
yeah, and the whole concept of like dressing classically masculine and super reminiscent of the 60s and vintage. Unless you're Austin Butler, it's like, I don't want to do that. You know, for the most part, these guys don't do it. But we're going to be checking out Caught Stealing this week, so we'll let you know how that goes. Hopefully it's sick.
Hopefully.
I can't really say I'm like a Darren Aronofsky fan, the person who made the movie, because I did not like The Whale. Get that out of my face. Requiem for a Dream, didn't like that. Get that out of my face. The Wrestler, I don't think I've seen it. I feel like maybe I wanted to or tried to. But like, what is this movie? Black Swan? Never seen it. I don't know.
I haven't seen any of his stuff either, but I have seen a lot of like featurettes where Austin Butler's like, man, I grew up watching Jackie Chan movies, so I wanted to do all the stunts I could, and that's all I got to hear to be like, I'm sold. Austin Butler's my new favorite actor. If this goes well, you know, like
Well,
I love stunt work. So
Yeah, for the new era, he is my favorite because if you look at the other guys, they do some very questionable roles that are not masculine, and
right,
I feel like he's definitely planting his flag, just like Brandon Scanar, of like, I'm going to be the tough guy. I guess I'll fill that void in the market, which is fantastic. We need that. So
super cool. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it 100 times, but Tom Holland is also kind of like playing classically masculine roles, but
Yeah.
it won't matter until for like another 20 years when he's like almost 50 before he's actually playing men, you know, and that's the problem. It's like you got this little kid guy who's like, yeah, I'll be a masculine guy, and you're like, nah, dude, you're gonna get punched and like fly across the room every time. Sorry,
I feel
it's
bad for him too, because isn't there a movie called Cherry where he's
Yeah.
super serious and lost a lot of weight and no one saw it? And then there was The Blank Room or something like that where he lost a bunch of weight, was super serious, and no one saw
Nobody
it.
saw
So it's like, dang, dude. Every time this guy tries to not be Tom Holland, Peter Parker, they're like,
He
get
gets
that out of here.
Poor guy, he's trying. Yeah,
Sad.
well, I'm we'll have this podcast going for the next years and years. So I'm sure we'll circle back to Tom Holland and see his career retrospective. And I'm sure in like 10, 15 years, we're going to be like, yeah, dude, Tom Holland's a fantastic guy. Like, he's doing great stuff. Because he's another guy who he can do a backflip. He can do all sorts of crazy stunt stuff, but he's not utilized properly yet. But hopefully he will be. We'll see.
Just give it time.
Tune
We're
in
at 20.
for the next 30 years to find out.
We are 22 minutes in. Should we start the topic?
Let's talk about this.
Let's do it.
Fun.
What we're gonna do comes from the Pulp Fest weekend when we were driving, and then just shooting the breeze and talking, and then
one does.
we began asking each other questions like, if you could do any of the stunts in the Mission Impossible series, which one would you want to do? And I got us thinking a good podcast episode would be we could ask certain questions and then riff on them via the podcast. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got 3 questions. He's got like 8 in the backlog over here, so we'll see how many we get through, and we'll start with 3 each and see how that goes, see where it takes us.
I think, and this will be different from the Q&A questions, which are sourced from the community. But this is fully focused on men's adventure fiction stuff, and it'll have our opinions and stuff, because that's all we can talk about is our opinions, but it'll be really fun. So you want to start? You can ask the first question.
Sure, I'll ask the first question. So, if you could direct one men's adventure fiction novel into a modern film, what would it be? And don't choose your own, all right? You got to go somewhere else.
Yep.
It could be any book in history written today all the way back to, the first books.
Yeah, dude, that's a good question. See, this is why I had 8 questions, because I feel like one of mine overlaps this one a little bit.
Okay.
So, men's adventure fiction book that I would want to... I think my first thought is bringing Chester Drum to the big screen would be
Seems
super
like a good
sick.
choice.
Yeah, because he's kind of unprecedented in fiction, in that he has aspects of so many different genres, and I really, really like that. So to pull in someone who is noir, espionage, all kind of baked into a very high adventure, willingness to go anywhere, do anything, just get the job done kind of character, super cool. So I think that's probably what I would have to pick, because he's awesome. So it would be, I don't know, the first book, I feel like there's been too many movies made that have enough similarities that one wouldn't go over as well. So maybe that one, maybe you'd have to do a little bit of a get to book movie, 3 or 4, and be have someone reference that in the first 1, 2, or 3 movies, and then have it be a play, a callback, and he flashes back and talks about that. But yeah, I think the one that would probably be the most fun would be the final book in the series. They're all fantastic, but the final one has basically this whole entire time through the 20 books, he gets to meet this guy who is wanted in 35 different countries kind of thing. He's a mobster, big finance guy, and he has been, this whole entire time, it's been hinted at him looking for this lost money that was kind of taken from, I think it was a Spanish company by the Soviet Union, and so they're trying to figure that out, and it's really cool. He ends up going to pretty much everywhere. He just travels to Switzerland, to Spain, to here, to there, to Russia, and it's just, he's being tracked by KGB operatives the whole time. It's just so sick.
That'd be your final reckoning, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, I think you need to, it is definitely set up as kind of the last one, so it'd be better to get to know the character. But I think that series, if you could take that, maybe combine a couple of them, so you're not doing a freaking 20 movie long series, because that would be crazy. But another one that I think would be really fun would be Strip for Murder to direct, but that one would be very hard to direct, because
dude, X-rated movie.
Yeah, it's about nudity. You would have to be very tasteful with blocking. Every time, the Adam and Eve pictures you see in your kids' Bibles, there's always a tree right from neck
Right.
down somehow. You know? So
It's that scene from Austin Powers where he's like picks up the 2 champagne bottles and covers, and then just takes that, and he like turns and looks up. There's always somehow
anytime
perfectly.
there's like boobs on screen, there's like someone pointing a gun blocking the,
Yeah,
nipple
dude.
line. Because that's the biggest problem with that movie is with that book is if it was such a good story, but if it was ever made in a movie, I probably never would watch it because it
Right.
would just be
Like, I
boring.
can't see this.
Huge loss for the Men's Adventure Fiction Collective. But what about you? We'll turn it back on you.
I think I've always wanted, like, the first ever time I remember wondering, how does one get the rights to make a book into a movie was The Contender. Because I would love to purchase the rights to The Contender one day and make like a mini series where it's The Contender as like 8 episodes and then The Brave as 10 episodes. And then that'd be it.
That'd be so cool.
I know there's like 4 books, but I want to do just one of the first 2. I think that arc is like exactly why I'm bringing it up, is why young men should be reading it. I think it's one of the perfect stories and like fables basically about masculinity, the meaning of responsibility and maturity, and to take the 2 and put them back to back and let people get to see that first character and then see that first character mentor the second character. I think it'd make the sickest pair of miniseries out there. So I still have hopes one day to be able to purchase those with. Just got to make the buku bucks, dude.
Yeah, dude, that's really cool. Good question. Way to get us started off on this. I'm excited. I still have to read The Contender, but I don't know. Part of me is like, I should wait for L.S. Goodish to direct that bad boy, so I can get the full impact of it for the first time.
That's
really
hilarious.
cool.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun episode. So let's hit us with your question and keep it rolling.
All right, here we go. This could be movie or actual like TV series. But what series would you reboot and who would you recast as leads?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
We made a mistake by not prepping each other earlier for
Right.
this. I can go first if you want. That way you
All
have
right, yeah,
time
sure.
to think about it. This is like me asking a question directly to myself. I thought of one. Oh, I was thinking, dude, this one's cool because it'll pull in Austin Butler. But I was thinking the serial Secret Service in Darkest Africa, which I think is Rod Cameron was the actor who played this guy, because there's another one called like, it's something like totally different. It's like G-Men or something like that. But he plays this badass guy. I think his name is Rex Bennett, maybe. Jared Jenkins punch in the air, and because I'm probably wrong. But super sick. It's literally just a serial, and it starts with him in Africa. Maybe the G-Men one is first. I actually haven't finished watching that one. But he's in Africa, and he's foiling the plots of the Nazis the whole time. And it would be so sick to have it remade as like a serious TV series, miniseries kind of thing.
Right.
And Austin Butler would be perfect as the lead, because he would look great. I mean, because the guy kind of dresses like Austin Butler does in Masters of the Air. So it would have like a little bit of that touch, and he would just be running around punching people, sword fighting, gunslinging the whole time. That would be sick. And then the second one that I would love would be Yancey Derringer with our boy Jack Mahoney, who should be called Jax Mahoney because that guy's a tank dude, crazy dude.
Absolute beef boy.
I know, for the time, probably like the most muscular guy to ever exist in 1945 to 65. Crazy. But Yancey Derringer is a kind of like a gambling gentleman guy who has very similar energy to Zorro, or Don Diego Vega specifically, where you're kind of like, oh, this guy's not like, he's not a tough guy, and then he's just, next thing you know, you're like flipped over on your back and he's got a knife to your throat. He's like, I am a tough guy, and I need to know where you took this girl who you kidnapped. Like, he's the coolest guy ever, and I would love to see Brandon Sklenar play him. I think he would be perfect for the role.
Dude, nice.
Yancey has the sick stash. He's also like tall, well built, and has similar hair coloring. And it's it's a Western, but it's set in New Orleans. So it has a lot more like I don't know. It basically answers the question that maybe I'm the only one who's ever had it, but I'm always like, dude, what would happen? What's happening in the 1890s in the East Coast, in like cities and stuff? Like, that's cool. I'm sure there were still gunfights and stuff going on there. So Yancey Derringer with Brandon Sklenar, and Secret Service in Darkest Africa with Austin Butler. There you go.
Dude, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reboot Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise now. I think I'll give you the twofer as well. The first one is Cheyenne. I want to see remade with Henry Cavill as the main guy, because Clint Walker, if you guys have seen him, is also like a 6'5", just beast of a guy who looks like he could have played Superman. Looks a little bit similar to Henry Cavill, and the character is so sweet and kind and nice, the way that Henry Cavill seems to show up in a lot of interviews, where he's just like, clearly huge, massive guy who can crush your skull, but he's more interested in being kind until it's time not to be, like the old Roadhouse philosophy. But I think he would really embody Cheyenne well. And that show was sick. I love it. It's one of my favorite Western shows, where he's like
I've never seen it somehow.
You should check it out. He's like a map maker. Is his job, and that's why he's like traveling. You know, we're always like, how do you be an adventurer? He's a
cartography. That's
yeah, dude. He's a map maker, so he's looking around, checking out areas, and it's always like, all right, now we got the bandits, and we're pinned up in the canyon. We're gonna have to shoot our way out of here.
Hell
so,
yeah, dude.
To remake that, the way that modern filmmaking has become, westerns can be much more intense, and these budgets would be, higher than they were then, and there'd be more involved. So it'd be really cool to see Cheyenne with Henry Cavill brought to life.
So cool.
And the second one, I don't know who I would cast, and this show's not even necessarily for me, but I want the younger generation to have it, is remake The Little Rascals, but and keep it. Don't make it modern. Keep it how it was, where it's like kids playing, getting rough and tumble. They got the He-Man Woman Haters Club. I think showing boys being boys and having that super important. So I want a remake of The Little Rascals to come out.
Dude, that's awesome. That's really cool. Those are great options. I did not realize how. Maybe I should have thought about this before. When I ask these questions, it's like, dude, now I'm pissed that these aren't happening, dude.
I know.
Those would be my those four right there would probably be my new 4 favorite TV shows of all time, and we're never.
Dude, I know. Yancey Derringer with Brendan Sklenar. Come on.
He's so sick. This is why we gotta all come together. We gotta crowdsource this to get us in a place where we can have
petition,
a collective, collective to be like, make this happen. It needs to happen. The world wants it. Another quick one. I would love to recast or reboot Magnum PI with somebody, but I have no idea who it would be. There's no one. Maybe you.
Yeah, how are you supposed to do that?
It could be you, dude. But
no, not me.
Tough. That would be so cool to have, because I haven't watched the new Magnum, but it just looks like
I don't like that.
So no interest in that. All right, next question, dude. We're rocking and rolling. We're locked in.
Is it me?
It's you.
All right. So if you had to define strength in one word, would you pick physical, moral, or spiritual strength?
Oh man, that's a tough one, dude.
Just hitting you with the light and breezy ones here early in the morning.
Well, let's make up a new word on the spot to define strength. Man, physical, moral, or spiritual strength.
Right. So which one do you think?
The question is not what the one word is, but it is. Sorry, go ahead.
Basically, which strength is most vital to you?
Nice.
Which one basically outsources the other? Like, if I start building my physical strength, am I going to become more spiritually strong and morally strong? Or maybe if I'm a morally strong person, I'll be physical. Like, which one is the most important core one to have that'll outgrow the others?
Well, the Bible says, for physical training is of some value, but godliness hold values for the time to come. So I think it would have to be spiritual strength for me. That's a super good question, and I can go a little more into detail, because I think that it's the discipline that comes from. Now I had a youth pastor growing up who was super awesome, dude. He was a great mentor, kind of like a second father to me, and he would always talk about, like, you can ride through life, specifically spiritual journey, but also just life in general, based on feeling, right? Like, oh, I'm feeling good, so I'm going to keep doing it. Or I feel like I'm connected to God, so I love reading my Bible. And then as soon as that feeling goes away, it's like, oh, well, I don't feel God anymore. I'm not going to read my Bible anymore. I don't feel like working out anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. So I think that like from a very early age, he was like, yeah, if you are reading the Bible, even if you remember nothing of it, that's still like, you're not retaining it. Like you're still getting information even if you don't realize it, right? Like doing the good things, even if it's kind of half-assedly, still is doing a good thing, you know? And I think that was like a really impactful thing for me to learn, right? Like that's kind of illuminated my entire life from there, right? Like if I do not like to work out, but I do it every single day because it's a discipline and it's a choice, you know? And it's like, it's not like I go like super lazy and don't work out hard. I still push myself, you know? It's like I still read big chunks of the Bible, and I still, because I was having a hard time retaining information, I started reading a Bible commentary at the same time that kind of like breaks down each thing. So it's like, okay, this makes more sense now. Like I understand it. This is putting it in terms that kind of shift and make more sense, and it gives a historical background for everything. So I think that when you have spiritual discipline, spiritual strength, it kind of like illuminates the rest of everything, because that leads to very clear moral compass of what's right and what's wrong. And then it also pushes you to be like, the Bible says that my body is a temple, so who am I to waste my body away by like eating crazy high like fried food and drinking 5 sugar-filled sodas a day, you know? Like that's not how my body needs to be.
How'd you get my diet? Who told you?
So I do think though that there's a lot of people in the church and in other places that are like morbidly obese, and gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins, you know? And I feel like that's one that like a lot of Christians love talking about, kind of more like high consequence or hot topic sins, but nobody's ever like, yeah, overeating is a sin too. And I think
Right.
that's like, dude, that's probably the sin that America struggles with the most.
Dude, it's depressing.
Yeah, it is. So I think that it is like, you can definitely lose sight. You need to be comprehensive in your strengths, but I think spiritual is the foundation to build off of. What about you?
I agree 100%. I think it's got an outgrowth from spiritual. I've definitely tried to lean on physical, and I've tried to lean on moral, which I'm more so, when I say moral in this context, I'm defining it as like your own wits and your own beliefs, and your own philosophies, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
the wisdom of the world, rather than spiritual would be, at least for us Christians, we're like referring to God and that higher power. But even if you're not and you hear spiritual strength, that could mean whatever it means to you. But
Right.
I think that one's still the most important, because it is like, it feels like it almost has to be, and is a stupid question in a lot of ways, because it's like the foundational thing, because it's everything. Like if your spiritual is off, you're not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna work out. That's stupid. Get out of my face. I don't feel like doing anything. I'm not gonna. Who cares about morals? Basically my soul is rotting, so I don't care about you, like that kind of stuff. So I think you got to get spiritually right. You got to get yourself on sound footing there, and then build things elsewhere. Because I forget if we talked about it a lot here, or if you and I specifically just talked about it, but I've been going through that rough time, and then you and I were talking, and you pointed me back to my faith a little bit, way more than I had been, and like you said, it feels very robotic, and I'm like, this doesn't even doing anything for me. But I am like reading the Bible more and more, and then like as you do it more and more, then it comes, you know what I mean? Like the actual effects. But at first I'm like begrudgingly doing it in a lot of ways, where it's like, all right, what is the point of this? You know what I mean? Like this is not what I want to be doing.
You read a sentence from the Bible and you're like, was that like, that's not even a sentence?
Right.
I mean, like,
I don't understand.
That's
what it feels like in my head sometimes. But yeah, exactly. But like feeling that part of my life strengthen up is making me feel way better than I had been, like way better. And I'm getting the way shredded as well, because you know what I mean, it's an outgrowth. I'm eating way better than I have been. I'm working out way more than I have been. All of that, again, titrating back and leaning it back to, oh, it's because my spiritual health, thanks to you in a lot of ways, has gotten patched up. And
That's awesome.
so before, just trying to do physical and like moral and basically like, I'm trying to stick to my values and I'm trying to work out a lot. I was doing a very piss poor job and just getting worse.
Yeah.
So that's what made me think of that question in the first place.
Well, and it's cool too to like, I'm sure that it's been, even if it's subconsciously, like weaving its way into 17, 18-year-old Noah Redford's journey is like, dude, he's probably asking that question all the time. Like, what is the strength that I need to,
Right.
to put in front? I think that that's like something that's really cool to see in writing and in film is like, you can have a character who has a moral code, but if you don't like give him a reason to have it, you're kind of just like, oh, this just seems like weird. Like, why does he have any sort of moral? So, I mean, even just like a primo example of Spencer Dutton, kind of like you get to know the character and you get to see why he has the physical strength and the moral strength, and kind of it's all built off of like the ethos of who he becomes as a man and the stuff that happens. Kind of like, I don't know how you would say spiritual journey, but the guy literally wandered through Africa for like years after going through the challenges of war to kind of find himself. So I think that that's like a primo example of like, okay, this guy has a strong moral code because he's been through so many things that are linked back to who he like became as a man. And that kind of is what the spiritual journey is. It's like finding yourself and finding God and the reason to be the man that you need to be. Because exactly like you said, dude, like if you don't have your spiritual foundation, you're just like, I don't care about that. Like, that doesn't matter.
Right. You can also take it as a lack of meaning, and I've always said that that's definitely one of the most detrimental things ever, is not having a meaning. Like, meaning and purpose are some of the most powerful forces out there. And that's something that, what I'm learning is that it's something you have to rediscover, reassess, and reevaluate a lot, because I think for a long time I thought, okay, I knew my purpose, I knew my meaning, and then I wasn't feeling, like I said, I was just getting worse and worse, feeling worse and worse. And you step back and you reevaluate what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the ultimate aim, so that you can calibrate and make sure, am I still living with purpose, or have I let the horse take over and I don't have the reins anymore and I'm just blasting forward in my life? So spiritual strength is like that source of meaning. And then once you have meaning, it's like, oh, this is why I'm working out. This is why I care and have morals. Yeah, well said, brother. This is the stuff that the genre really brings out. I think that is important.
For real. Great question. That was awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. Let's hear your next one. Hit me with that crusher.
This question, which I'm going to skip because it was your question, is what book would you have made into some sort of film series?
Contender.
So get that out of
The Brave.
Here's a good one. This one's kind of cool, and it harkens back to a question that Terrence Leahy asked us before. So we'll see. This can kind of be a throwaway if we don't have any new ideas. But which medium do you hope men's adventure fiction takes over next? It's like, what the hell does that?
I feel. What's a medium? I feel like.
Dude, a spiritual medium?
I feel like it's gotta be. Yeah, I feel like I'm really hoping we take over tarot card reading. It's my favorite. I think movies. I think it's gotta be movies, right? Because that's what the culture cares most about, and it has like the biggest sway. I feel like culturally. So if you start if all the big actors and actresses are starting to only do men's adventure fiction stuff, then again, talking about the spiritual growth, outgrowth, you'd see books coming out like that. You'd see movies coming out.
Right.
Everything would kind of trickle down from the old film realm.
Sorry, not to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Argyle had the opportunity to do that and just totally pissed in everybody's face somehow. That was terrible.
Argyle?
Yeah, dude, because they had the book released
Henry
at the same
Cavill?
time as the movie. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I didn't even realize that.
The
Wow.
book's actually pretty solid. It's like not great, but it's okay. But yeah, that's
Better
really
than the
good.
movie?
Certainly better than the movie, and it actually has. The movie is supposed to be like book 5 or 6 of the Argyle series. So the actual Argyle movie is book 5, but the book itself is book 1. And yeah, dude,
Interesting.
Henry Cavill's character Argyle is like, he's in Indonesia doing like crime stuff because his family got killed in Indonesia. So it was very cool. And then he gets recruited, and you have like the whole recruitment stuff. But it would have been sick to have like, everybody's like, oh, this movie's great, I got to go read the books. And now they're making like a high concept spy thriller book series. But instead they were like, let's make one of the worst movies that's ever been made, and then try and go for it.
Dude, this is really making me think. You know what I really want to see? And this might not be an answer to the question, so my answer is still movies. But what I really want to see is bringing back the novelizations, dude. Give me those. I want a freaking Ungentlemanly Warfare. I would have read the novelization of that.
Sick,
Caught Stealing is a novel, so we could read that.
Oh,
but like,
I didn't know that.
I would love to just read the novels for like the Mission Impossibles. Give me novelizations for each of those. And I know certain projects do. Like there's The Batman with Robert Pattinson got a novelization.
Yeah.
But give me more, man.
Yeah, dude,
please.
that's a really good idea. I like that.
Please. I'll write them, dude. I'll drop my whole writing career to write novelizations. Just hire me.
Yeah, the first thing I ever read, like the first thing that really got me into Indiana Jones, I didn't watch Indiana Jones probably until I was like 13, 14, and I was reading the novelizations at like 8, 9, 10, and they had little inset pictures of the movies. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I love this. I can, for me, I may be the only one who knows about this, but it was super cool. It was, I don't know, it was more like just a zombie thing, but Snapchat did this crazy thing, and it was really, really sick, and it was like a whole entire TV series through the Snapchat app. So you know how they have like that whole page that's now just filled with like nudies and stuff? If you're
the worst stuff of all time.
It's really terrible. At one point they had like I can't remember what it was called, but it was a horror thing. So it followed this girl, and her father was like a general in the military, and she was in California, and the whole entire world fell apart, and she was like the person who was responsible for like saving the day. And so she was in the heart of this like zombie outbreak, and her dad was gonna have to nuke the place and all this stuff. It was like insane, truly like crazy, really high tension, and it was all done with the front facing and back facing camera. Like she was like live streaming it, like it was kind of found footage, but it was like, in a modern thing, and it was so sick. So that idea I really like, but also the idea of like, dude, if men's adventure fiction could take over TikTok, and we talked about it before, if you could have some sort of like television series, it's like a minute long, and have it engaging every single time, that would be the coolest thing ever. And I'm definitely going to give it a shot one of these days.
I think I am wrong. It is probably TikTok that actually runs everything. I think TikTok determines that like, oh, people like K-pop and they like animes. We'll make K-pop Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter, the movie comes out, and it's like, then it titrates down. So really, the social media, you take that over, then you take over film, then you take over everything else.
Which to that point, that dude Noah's Ark, who unfortunately is going through some sort of like weird heart thing. I mean, he makes some of the coolest stuff ever. You know, like those sick. They're like kind of like Sigma male men's adventure. Like he's got one where he's got a shotgun lever action guy that he like spin cocks, and he's walking through the desert. It's like, dude, this is sick.
Yeah,
give me
he
like
makes the coolest videos.
Give me like a little actual guy, like a story here, like
a narrative with it. Yeah,
dude. So maybe that's sick. You can crack into that and make something. If you build it, they will come, right?
right.
Something like that. So I think that would be pretty cool.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, whatever it is, we need to take it over because I need more. Yeah,
it'll be fun.
So last question for me.
Last one from you.
All right, let's see. We got and again, just throwing you softballs, dude. What's the biggest difference between the masculinity portrayed in adventure fiction and what's promoted in culture today?
That's a tough one, dude. What a question. This guy was bringing the heat here. I think my first thought is like the first kind of thought that I have is responsibility, in that it's like in these stories, in men's adventure fiction stories, you'll have so many different times where it's like, crap, I just did something really stupid and it's going to cost me. And that may be the impetus for why I go on this adventure for the rest of my life, you know? Whereas now I feel like if you do something stupid, everybody's like, that's just how it was going to be anyway. Don't worry. Don't like feel good about yourself. Like, don't take any responsibility for your action because like, it doesn't matter really. Like you made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. There's no reason to feel bad about it. It's like, well, actually I accidentally like texted while I drove and killed my entire family. Like I probably should take responsibility for that, you know, like change to become a better man. I feel like that's probably one of the things where it's just like we're so hands off and so like it's super interesting because on one hand it's like this is the most toxic our culture's ever been with like hateful of everything and cancel everything, and then on the other hand it's like, oh, you have like a crazy dark sin pattern that's like killing people or not like actually killing people but just like tearing people up inside, and it's like no, we should normalize that and like celebrate that. It's like that's okay to do, don't feel bad about that. But it's like, man, this is crazy. Like we're at this really weird intersection here. I mean, even just like a primo example is the concept of like minor attracted being a term, you know, like
let's not make that a term.
Right. And I remember reading an article, someone was like, well, we don't want to be insensitive. It's like, no, if there's one person, or we don't want to be insensitive or cause people to have prejudice against. Bro, if there's one person that needs to be prejudiced against across the board, it's freaking pedophiles. Dude. Like,
right.
Those should be there. Should never. You should always
should
feel
not
bad
be a
for
question.
being a pedophile. This is truly like basic stuff. So I think it's stuff like that where it's like, oh, you're just a victim of your upbringing, and that's why you're a pedophile. It's like, no, dude, you're a pedophile because you're a bad dude. Like, you need to be stopped. Like, I think that's kind of where it comes from. It's like men's adventure fiction on one hand does bring to the table kind of like shows you why this person, especially think of like Donald Westlake and Lawrence Block stuff, where it's like these guys are not good guys, you know, like they're bad guys who are ruthless and don't really mind being ruthless. And so they kind of, sometimes they don't even give you the reason that they're ruthless. They're just like, yeah, this guy's just a bad guy. That's how he is. He's had to do bad things. I mean, even like Nolan is one of the characters that Max Allan Collins writes, and that guy is like pretty ruthless. He's a heist guy who has no problem killing people left and right, you know? And it's like, I think that's interesting because they're not necessarily trying to justify him as a good guy. I think that's where the shift has come. Is it's like now anybody, no matter how bad they are, has to be justified and has to be like brought to like, okay, well, there's a reason that they're this way, and you should actually feel sympathy for them. Whereas a lot of men's adventure fiction is like, yeah, there's a reason that this guy's this way, and you shouldn't feel sympathy for him, and he's probably going to kill you, and that's just how it is, you know. So I don't know. I think that kind of basic concept is what I think.
That is a big one, dude. There's overemphasis on like self-esteem and making sure we're okay and justified in what we do because we're just human. Like that is detrimental. I forget where I read this along the line in undergrad, but it was basically saying that like, you know, too much empathy and things like that is also a problem because then you're never challenging the client, they're never growing. If I'm just like, yeah, I get why you did that, I can see that, I understand, and we just leave it at that, then it's like, thanks, I feel validated. I'm going to continue to do what I've done that got me into counseling. Like, right. At a certain point, you have to challenge and push back and be like, well, like let's look at the pattern here. Does not working out for you. This is bad. Let's stop that. So take responsibility and realize you did make a mistake. And like you and I said to each other, like, let's bring back bullying for one another, like where it's nothing is better than positive peer pressure. Right, and like, what if I was too overly nice to you, where it's like, well, dude, you had a hard day and a long day. Of course you could eat whatever you want, dude. Go ahead. It's like, dude, come on. You'll only live one time. I'm not making you better.
Even just the way you said that right there, it didn't make you seem like a good friend. It made you seem like kind of like a Weasley guy. Like, yeah.
You got this,
cocaine.
yeah, exactly.
You'll be fine.
That's
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
take
It's like
all his money from selling him cocaine.
Right.
Go ahead.
You would need. It's better to be the person who can draw the line. Say, no, this is bad. Yeah. Don't do that. You're better than that. Get out of my face. Like, stop.
Right,
that is what I love in the men's adventure fiction universe. Is you get that. You know, you get the guy who's, this is what it is. Sorry, and like, I'm not I'm not fighting with you on this. And if you do, you're just wrong. And like that kind of thing. So
If
I
you
like
do,
that.
we're gonna have a fight for the rest of the movie because
Yeah, dude.
nuking a bunch of people is not gonna fly ever. Oh my god.
Yeah. You eat that croissant, I'm slugging you in the face. That kind of thing.
Oh, damn croissant. It's so.
But-
This is like obviously I didn't slug anyone in the face, but when you get to that point, even this is so clear in just parenting. It's like you come to a point where with your kid they ask you the same thing, and it's like the 15th time you said no. It's like, all right, if you ask again after I've said no 100 times, you're gonna have to go to timeout. I'm sorry, I don't
Right.
want this. You don't want this. None of us want this, but it's gonna happen. I mean,
Right.
the other day I was putting my daughter to bed, and it's like way past her bedtime, and I put her to bed, and she's like, oh, can we do one more book? And I was like, all right, I'm doing this book, and I pick up a random book, and she's like, no, I don't want that book, and I was like, okay, well then I'll do this book, and she's like, no, and she gets out of bed, and she's going to get a book, and I'm sorry, kid, you missed your chance, it's time to go
Right.
to sleep. You gotta go
Now
to
there's
bed.
no book.
No book. I don't make the rules. Actually, I do, but
That's besides the point.
you really brought the heat with these questions. Some deep philosophical thinking here. I love it.
I like our podcast to be anything but fun.
Well, no, this has been super fun. Yeah, I think, I don't know, that's a really good question. What separates the masculinity in men's adventure fiction from the real world, dude? But we could do a podcast just on that. Super cool stuff. But I can bring my last one to the
All right, hit me with it.
Let's do... I don't know. This one's tough because I feel like we kind of talked about it before when we talked about what would be like our perfect thing. But what is the epitome of men's adventure fiction in a book and on the screen for you? Now, this could be like a trope or something like that, or it could be actual like examples of the stories.
All right. I'll give like a kind of a nebulous answer because there is nothing true that you can like tangibly grasp really with what I'm going to say. But I think to me it's like the idea that people think of when they think of Hemingway, the writer, the life,
nice.
the actual guy. His novels, I don't even think is what I would say, or his short stories, I wouldn't even say. Like, that's not what I'm saying is like the epitome of men's adventure fiction. But that aesthetic, that lifestyle, that ethos of what he brought to the table of like, I hunt, I fish, I box, I write, like that is, he's so cool and so, masculine, like the cafe, writing in cafes. I think that's why my favorite Hemingway and one of my favorite novels of all time is A Movable Feast. And I reread it again. I'm not through it, but I started rereading it again last Sunday because it's just, I don't know, at least for writers like you and me, it's so alluring to be and try to emulate the like masculine writer kind of lifestyle. It's more fun. It's fun to write that way, and it's fun to like tap into that. So I think, for me, the men's adventure fiction thing is epitomized in what people think of when they think of the really stereotypical Hemingway. You know, that's my thought.
Yeah. Well said. I wasn't sure where this question was going to go because I don't even know what my answers are for that. But I think I would say, kind of like to piggyback off of that, is the wanderer or the drifter kind of archetype, I think, really like embodies the whole entire concept because it gets into that sort of thing, like the world is your beat, you know, like you can kind of just be anywhere and you can be there for writing purposes, you know, like I'm going to do research in Mozambique because I want to figure out how that is for this story I'm writing, you know, or I'm living in Italy for 3 months and literally just kind of like becoming an Italian person in the Alps, you know, like I think that that's so cool, is like entering into cultures and like learning what you want to and be kind of coming like a citizen of the world. I think that plays really well with like, okay, I've been everywhere. When I'm in Rome and I'm being chased by these guys who are looking for this treasure with me, I know where to go, you know, like I think that that's so cool. So it kind of gets into that comprehensive man thing of like knowing so much about so many different things because you've been well traveled, you've been well read, you've been like training yourself for this sort of thing the entire time. So I think that that's kind of, I really like that idea. And that's exactly like what's so cool about Hemingway is like, you know, like, oh, when he writes about hunting stuff, it's because that bro was out there killing stuff left and right.
Right.
When he writes about what it's like sitting in Paris, looking at the Eiffel Tower, sipping an espresso, you're like, this is not fiction. This is him. He was actually,
Right.
you know. So I think that's what kind of epitomizes it for me, and I think that's why I like stunts so much, and I like characters who take that seriously, because you watch a movie and you're like, man, that's so cool, and then you see the guy with the wig get thrown into the screen, and you're like, whoa, this this actor is not at all like the characters. But then you watch it and you see Tom Cruise's hair get plastered over his face. And
Literally.
The king of the doofuses, and you're like, dude, that's sick. That guy's actually doing it. Or you see Austin Butler, and he's like actually 8 stories up on top of this high rise, and you're like, yeah, dude, this guy's getting some skin in the game. Or, I mean, Hugh Jackman was another great one. I've read interviews and watched interviews of the people on the set of like Wolverine being like, yeah, he would come in at like 6 a.m. and he'd be going harder doing like stunt training and stuff than all the stuntmen. And at the end of the day, he'd be like, you guys ready for tomorrow? And they'd be like, no, we need a break. You like chill out. So I think it's cool when you have like, when you know that the craft is backed by reality.
Yeah, that authenticity behind it, definitely.
Exactly.
That's what makes Hemingway so great, and Jack Carr, same thing. Like, kind of added that. Which True Believer, or not True Believer? Dark Wolf came out today for us. Pretty sick.
We'll have to do maybe the next episode will be a Dark Wolf caught stealing review episode.
That'd be cool.
I'll let you guys know.
We could honestly do like a plethora of new movie reviews, because I got Primitive War in the back burner to talk about as well.
Hell yeah. Maybe we'll do a what's happening now in this adventure fiction, because it's a good time for it.
Dude, what you said was really good, and it made me think of two points that maybe I forgot about one or the other. Who knows? But at least one's still in my mind.
Well, you give the one if you can't remember the other one. I've got a point from the last question.
Go ahead. You could go and finish up your point. And I'll
no.
This
is from the question before your last question. So you go now. We'll have fun. Go for it.
So I was gonna say like 2 things that epitomize men's adventure fiction, but more so like the proper masculinity that you and I are trying to attain. I think is the Renaissance man is what you made me think of, where it's like, I think we all should be striving to be Renaissance men, where you're not just the tough guy who shoots bow and arrow. Like, you're also able to appreciate fine art. You're also able to read poetry. Like, I think you need to be able to do that, the spectrum of things, and have a lot of interests and have a lot of hobbies. Don't be one note. You and I have talked about this before of like, if you're the guy who's into building things and all you can talk about is building things, it's like, all right, thank you. This is a great conversation. I'm leaving now. Like, it's fantastic to have a wealth of knowledge and understanding about many aspects in life, and it enriches you as a person, it enriches your relationships and your ability to connect. So being a Renaissance man, I think is fairly important. And then I think I did lose the second point, but I'll replace it with the authenticity thing that you brought up. Is like, don't let these things all just be play or fun to look at on the screen. Like, you actually have to put skin in the game, to Nathaniel's point. Like, I have to go out and actually box to have an authentic portrayal of a boxer. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't take that to the extreme. You don't have to do everything the characters do, but like, you want to push yourself spiritually, physically, emotionally. Like, you should be pushing yourself. You should be trying to test and sharpen yourself against difficulties, or else you're a way duller version of yourself, and your spirit is a lot weaker than if you were constantly putting yourself in the fire, some kind of fire, to sharpen.
Yeah, dude. To that point, even like, say you can't get out to a gym to box or do MMA or anything like that, you can always do fight choreography stuff with your friends. I feel like my writing has gotten so much better for action sequences because I have choreographed probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 fights, fist fights and stuff. So even just like the Monday, the 25th, when we filmed, it was like, you're literally jumping around. You got this guy who's kind of taking everybody out, and so you got him like blocking a gun, and then someone has to push in because he's about to clobber somebody. Someone's throwing a fist, and then they're getting caught by the chest, head butted, slammed into a wall. You know, it's like walking through those things with somebody illuminates so much of how you can write action, because you can see, okay, well, when I throw a hook, that's going to cause him to have to go under, and now he's in a position, so now I can visualize all of this stuff. I mean, when I wrote one of the sword fights in Change of Heart, I literally got down on the ground with a sword in my hand and like reenacted the type of thing, like did a roll and stuff. So I think it's like you said, like if you're just sitting there writing, like you've never held a gun, you've never smoked a pipe, you know, you can't be talking about, oh, the pipe tobacco tasted like caramel and sweet cream, or it just tasted like a dirty sock covered in smoke. You know, it's like you have no idea what it actually tasted like because you've never smoked anything. And that was another thing that I was thinking too. I think like another thing that epitomizes it is tobacco and cigars and pipes and cigars and stuff. It's like it gets back to that idea of the smoky back room where it's like, dude, adventure is a brewing. But the other thing I was thinking about with your question about the last question, what was your last question?
The difference between masculinity and men's adventure fiction.
It was Green Street Hooligans, which you talked about a bunch of times, and we got to watch together at the Pulp Fest weekend.
That was great.
It was that scene where Charlie Hunnam's like, "This has been funny, but if you say one more thing, I'm going to kill you." It's like, I think that's such a good thing where it's like the understanding, like it was like we talked about before, you and I have had the conversation before of like, oh, when are you letting someone like walk over you and not standing up for yourself enough, and like when is caring actually not like is the true masculine thing to just let everything roll off your back, or is there a certain point where you got to be like, all right, this is too far, and not be afraid of the confrontation? So super cool, a really good example of that. He's like, he didn't say he was going to kill me. He was like, if you keep that up, we can go step outside and handle this ourselves.
Right.
Put your money where your mouth is, basically. And it was a great scene. So I think that's another cool thing. It's like,
yeah, dude, that measured, assured masculinity that's not insecure is never going to be the guy screaming and grabbing at somebody to get even. It's recently, I don't know if you saw this or the viewers here have seen this, but the Rajah Jackson situation
I have seen it.
It's horrendous, dude. It's horrendous, and it's the only time you'll hear me use the word toxic masculinity is for this situation. I think it's the most proper use of that, because it's the opposite of what you were just bringing up with that Green Street Hooligans. Is Rajah Jackson, just to give the ultimate briefest overview, because you guys could look it up, and we can't talk about it a whole lot here because some younger people watch it, and if I were to give a full breakdown, it would be pretty bad. But essentially, he's a streamer, and his father is Rampage Jackson, who is like a UFC legend. And so he's live streaming, and he's going to this WWE-ish event, not real WWE, but like a pro wrestling.
I think I have seen this.
Yeah. So to be goated, so you shake this guy's hand and you say that it's okay 3 times beforehand, and then you're goaded in by your dad calling you a pussy and a bitch and gay, and you're goaded by your stream doing the same thing, saying like, can't believe you let this guy punk you, and you get so worked up that you commit basically attempted murder on a guy, 21 unanswered punches to an unconscious body. That's not masculinity, that's not tough, that is like bad. Like that is, you are way out of control of your emotions. You are as masculine as my son is, to that point of like being able to control yourself and his emotions. That's not good. So that situation recently made me think a lot about that, where people do throw that term around, toxic masculinity, all the time. And of course, you and I are very like, okay, that's dumb, like for a lot of the time. But this is like one time where I would agree. That is exactly, I think, what you're talking about when you're correctly saying that, because that's bad. That is not what we want. That is very, very bad. Yeah. So, got to be in control of your emotions. You got to be willing to stand up for yourself and respond in measure when necessary. But yeah, if you're lashing out like that, that's deeply insecure.
Right. You're definitely out of control.
Yeah. It's a way to end on a horrible note here, but
nothing better than a terrible note then.
This has been a good conversation. Otherwise, the attempted murder. Other than that, it's been fun.
I think for end segment, it would be good we can fill you guys in, give you guys the opportunity to think about more chances to bring men's adventure fiction back on your part. So the deadline's coming up for a handful of different things. I think there's still about a month left for the horror film. So make something sick happen. Like I said, you could come up with some really cool ideas that are very men's adventure fiction forward. Like Luke also brought up, film it with a phone. I mean, this is the thing too. It's like you can literally set up your phone in the corner against the wall and have your buddy over, and he can have like a axe or something, and you can just go for it. You know, like you can do some really cool stuff. You could do something like super wild and have your kid like wrapped up in toilet paper and chase you around as the mummy. You know, like there's no rules. You can really like come up with some cool ideas. So definitely try and do something with that. And then we also have the noir, which you can tell them a little bit more about.
Yeah, guys, Noir November comes out every year. People talk about noir. It's like a real good time to celebrate the genre, and we're going to be doing that with a short story collection that we're going to be binding up in a very premium like coffee table collection.
So sick.
It's going to be awesome and unlike anything we've ever put out, and I'm excited for this project because I'm a fan of the genre. I want a sick coffee table book with noir stories in it, and reading some of these submissions, they're absolutely incredible. So if you want to be a part of this, I think October 1st is when submission deadline is up. So get your stories in, and you've got the whole month of September to write them. So, get in there, get these stories written, send them in to Veritas Entertainment LLC at gmail.com, and we would love to have you be a part of it. So,
and for submissions, for this and for everything else, just put the name, the working title, your name, and then either novel submission or noir submission, or if it's men's adventure fiction may submission, anything like that, just so we know where it all is. But yeah, super exciting stuff. And the final way that you can be part of this whole thing is go to the Las Vegas International Pipe Show, the 24th, 25th, and 26th of October. We will have a table there. I'll be smoking pipes, selling books, talking with people about adventure and pipe smoking and tobacco, so it'll be a good time. Would love to see you there.
The true smoky back room, dude.
Yeah, dude. big smoky back room.
In Vegas, nonetheless.
Yeah,
like, we're really Ocean's 11 right here.
Yeah, sick stuff, so don't miss it. And if you're there, I'm sure we can go hang out, go to In-N-Out, go to a restaurant, just chill I know there's room hopping up on the 14th floor, I believe, where you can just chill out and smoke and talk. So don't miss it if you're able to. It'd be super cool to hang out there. A lot of fun.
Heck yeah. Awesome, guys. We appreciate you listening and sticking with us through these conversations. As always, it's great to have you guys here reading the genre, supporting the genre, engaging in these conversations, meeting you in the Discord, meeting you in the comments section. We love to meet fans of this genre, because that's exactly what we are at the heart of it. Is we're just big old fans, dude.
Oh yeah, baby. And to that point too, jump into the Discord, drop a comment below, and answer these 6 questions. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Super good conversation pieces. And maybe you don't ever comment, you're not an active member, but maybe you can use these questions. Just drop it at the next like party you're at. You're having a conversation with somebody, like small talk kind of peters off, and you're like, well, what TV series would you reboot, and who would you cast? Or you could really go crazy and be like, yeah, what's the difference between like Indiana Jones masculinity and masculinity today? And just have the craziest conversation of all time at the bro, this is my kid's graduation party. What's happening? But yeah, cool stuff. Great opportunity to talk to people. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us for another episode. Always fun.
All right, see you in the next one. Take care.